It's me, Nigel Barden, and I'm really delighted, but I'm joined by Matt and Millie Hughes, the amazing performing Hughes couple, man and wife, and brewers, and also recipients of this year, the Golden Fork, the Guild of Fine Food, the Nigel Barden Heritage Award for their Money for Old Stout, which I absolutely loved. It's a beautiful, it's creamy and subtle, and yet it's got that lovely type of bonfire of the vanities, charcoal notes, which I love, and a really good stout. It's 4.8%, and you can see it's called Money for Old Rope. And what a great macabre story attached to it is that the hangman, when he'd done, as it was mainly men in those days, done their business and hung someone, they'd get the rope, chop it all up, and give it out as souvenirs, which they'd sell. So they would make some extra money from the old rope. There you go. Good story, but great, great beer. And I was really delighted. In the Wintles Old Brewery that you're based, in the Forest of Dean. You've been at it maybe not that long, couple of years. We'll find out more in a minute. But a great old product, but in a very new, modern business. So welcome, Millie and Matt. Well done. Just tell us a bit before you set up the business, what you were doing before.
Well, I mean, it was an interesting start, an interesting intro for us into the kind of brewing world, I suppose. Millie was a Prosecco swilling student. She had just come out of Swansea University with a first-class honours degree, and she was working at a local college at the time. And I was working behind the bar of one of our local pubs and helping those guys get that bar, that pub up and running and off the ground, and making a success out of it with them. So it was a bit of a change, I suppose. You know, we've both been familiar with beer. I'd done a fair share of drinking and still do, and Millie was always good at having a bit of a taste and telling us her score out of 10 for whatever guest beer might have been on the pub that week. So, you know, it was an interesting one. It was a by chance meeting with the old owner, who was looking to consolidate his businesses. He's a really successful guy, but he just had too much on and that sort of stuff. And it was the brewery which he wanted to move on, and he was either going to sell it as is, but more likely he was going to sell the assets and strip it away. And we got a fantastic opportunity to kind of take on a brewery that was running and working, and make it.
You've missed one of the crucial points.
What's that? We
actually had tickets booked to go travelling one way, and Matt came home from work and said we'd have to cancel the tickets because we were buying a brewery.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy sell.
That's quite a big admission, that, Matt, I have to say. Well done for bringing that, Millie. Hopefully the scar tissue has healed since then. But also, and what a great site, Wintles. I mean, this is a brewery, we're talking back Victorian Britain, early 1900s, the site where your brewery is, your Bespoke brewery is now.
It was built by Thomas Wintle, and it brewed for many years. Sorry, is the connection still there?
Yeah. You're a bit elongated, but you're fine, looking good.
So no, it was built in 1868 by Thomas Wintle, and he was a big pioneer of the time, and he created a 100-barrel brewery, so it was 10 times bigger than our current one. So, you know, when he did a brew of beer, he would make 20,000 litres in one go. So, you know, nigh on 40,000 pints. So it was a hell of a thing, you know, really. And he built the brewery on top of, you know, a big reservoir, an underground reservoir, which was what kind of made it the perfect site for the brewery. And he put in a lot of the infrastructure for Micheldean as a village, you know. So there is still kind of fire hydrants, and that's where he ran all the fresh water down into the village as part of the deal with the parish that he could build his monster of a brewery there.
And what I love about the fact that you've taken on that great bit of history as well, but you've got your own range of beers. The ones I've tasted are obviously fantastic. Just tell us a little bit about the thought process behind getting a range of beers, because obviously that's the way people do it now. You've got beers to be drunk with food and everything. I'll show the beers off, but also you could just say, you know, what it was, the thinking behind them, and why you've come up with this range. And I'm going to do it from lower strength to higher, so there is a form of pacing yourself, I think is the word I'm using. Here you go.
Hey, that sounds good. So, Into the Light. I mean, look, that's a blonde session. with every range of beers, I think that you need a beer that's going to be perfect for just having a couple in the pub and then still going home after. Something that you can have as a, with a meal. And yeah, it's got to be that one. It's light, easy drinking. Yeah, sessionable. That's the key. Forest Gold. So, once again, there's a good story attached, but I think we needed a beer for us that represented the Royal Forest of Dean. This was the Royal Hunting Ground for a long time. And I think that we wanted a lovely golden ale that, once again, people have more than one of. Beware the bear, the story of the bear. It's probably the crown the jewel in our crown, I would say. It's the bear, the story of the bear, who killed the bear, is a story that's really prevalent in the Forest of Dean. It's a massive part of forest heritage, and that beer does pack as much kind of flavour as the folklore kind of history behind it.
It's back to the old days of bear baiting, doesn't it?
Yeah, basically. So a couple of friends came over, and some bears got killed in the end, and yeah, it was the big story of which village were the ones that kind of beat these bears and these Frenchmen to death. And they still get a fight now if you ask about it in the wrong pubs.
Matt, can you just show us the mug that you're drinking your tea or coffee from at the moment?
Yeah, Papa Bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually Millie's got one that matches with a mama bear as well.
I'm about to say, Millie, I hope you do. Well, that's it. You are a perfect couple. Matt, yeah. You're a big lad. I've seen, when you stand up, there's a little bit of difference in height. Were you a rugby player in your day?
Yeah, I played rugby for a long time. Yeah,
I had a feeling you might be.
Never fit enough to get into the back row.
Muscles in your spit. We've talked about Money for Old Rope, which I think is fantastic stout, 4.8%. And then we're moving on to Over a Barrel, 5%.
Yeah, so that's a classic porter. You want to think of those dark, rich flavours that 5% carries. It's heavy hitting in ABV and in flavour, and I think that's so key. You've got to have that. You struggle to find people that can brew a good, honest kind of porter or bitter these days. It's all over-hopped American stuff, which I think is great and has good flavour, but I challenge anyone to brew a decent porter or a bitter. That's hard. And
then we're going off finally half-cocked.
Yeah, half-cocked to 4.6%. So that's our all English IPA. So that's our take on an IPA. It's hopped with just British hops that we source locally. And it's a beautifully well-balanced beer. Once again, I think it's a sessionable one. The key with us is that we wanted a range of beers where, you don't just have the one, apart from maybe the dark ones where they're a bit stronger in flavour and ABV. But, the key for me is to clinch people in. I want them to drink 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 of them,
Pace yourself. Air ambulance on standby. Absolutely, you should be bringing a low alcohol one in before long, and maybe a gluten-free. That's
yeah, absolutely. They're both in the pipeline, and a lager too.
Good. And while you're drinking from your Papa Bear mug, Millie, can I ask you about the Bespoke? That's what's really an unusual side about the labelling that you'll do and how that side of the business works.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really exciting part of what we do. We have a graphic designer that works in-house, and he designs labels for all kinds of businesses. We've done anyone from Clark shoes to McLaren cars. It's really exciting. So they might approach us, we design a label and we print them and label up whichever beer takes their fancy.
Yeah. No, I think
so.
That's
we're pretty busy
fantastic.
with business.
Good innovation, exactly what we'd expect from an indie business live such as yourselves. I mean, it's just a joy to spread the love. I'm tasting some of these on the radio. I'm going to be doing some more with Simon Mayo on Scala Radio and Robert Elms on BBC Radio London. We'll be tasting some of the range, and it's just great. I mean, and all the hard work which I know you put into the business and the crew you've got working there. It's just nice to be accoladed. You got 3 Great Taste Awards for your Money for Old Rope. It's a great beer, a great range, and I hope you can just sit back and maybe give yourselves, well, you actually literally can give each other a pat on the back, but well done to you, for building up the business and brewing some great beers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's been good fun.
Good. Well, may it continue to for a long time, and I hope you still get that hold in. Have you been on a trip since? Any big trips since you managed to set the business up?
Well, just before we so before it all went through, we did, how long was it? 10 weeks?
Yeah.
In the Falkland Islands. So we sort of got the sail on the road, and then, we flew out there for a couple of months and came home and took over.
That was a whole other story. 10 weeks in the Falkland Islands. We haven't got time, sadly, but that'll be in. But tell us about, we're sharing independent indie business love. Who else would you like to nominate so we can flag them up and do the social media, create havoc for them? Who is it? In a good way.
Yeah, there's no one other than my own brother, who's kind of polar opposite in appearance and in so many ways, but he's an amazing businessman, and he has a business called Tubby Tom's, and they create really amazing hot sauces. He likes to consider them world famous, and he's on his way to world dominance in that field, and I think he's the job. So he's
what's bro called?
Say that again.
What's he called, your bro?
Tubby Tom's hot sauces.
Silly me, of course. And I hope he's put those into the Great Taste Awards as well.
He's got a Great Taste Awards himself. Yeah.
You see, there you go. Perfect symmetry. It's a joy to see both of you there in front of your very beige living room. Now, are you at the brewery?
We're not. No, we've just nipped home to this because we're still building the new brewery. So we're on a building day today.
Well, it's very, very exciting. Bespoke Brewing, and congratulations on your continuing success. And hey, pubs are opening up. The world. Hey, let's hope it's a great 2021 for you. And well done, Matt and Millie Hughes. It's a joy to speak to you, and thank you for spreading the love with Tubby Tom's, bro Tom, and his pipingly hot sauces. But well done. I salute you. Well done to you.
Thank you very much.